Party people in the place to be. How's everybody doing out there? Get these things off, man. Getting crazy. Coming into this 4th of July weekend. Figured I'd pop in and just say what's up to everybody. Hopefully everything you're standing for and standing on is where you want to be and what you want to do. That being said, any of you who are facing discomforts and hurdles that you're trying to get over, our prayers are with you, and hopefully you can rebound or rehab or get through, or if you're going right into it, fight against, do what you got to do, stand for what you got to stand for, and hopefully your healing and your comfort will be upon you. So peace be to you guys, all, everyone in that fight. Today I had some thoughts about where people feel they either lack a need to improve or desire the need to improve, seek it. See a lot of these folks that are out there, I know many of them, and they're always looking for those programs to better themselves. And I think that's to me, it's a very commendable thing. If you feel that you're lacking in anything and you want to improve, then so improve. That's your path, and that's a beautiful way to think. Because anytime you can be better, or think better, or feel better about yourself, I certainly don't think that you're limited to negative or finding yourself in the middle of something that's less than productive. Remain productive. That's a beautiful thing. If your fight is for the fight's sake, we talk about contrarians a lot. Contrarians, people that just seek to argue and take stances that don't really mean anything. So a lot of times I'll ask somebody a question, and it's not to sharpshoot them at all. I want people to be different. Anybody that's known me, known of me, always knows that I am a people person, and I enjoy people being people. I want them to be themselves because that's the best you that I could actually be involved with. That's important to me. We can't learn people's differences if they're always looking to lick boots or kiss feet, kiss butts, whatever. It's good to look up to people. And it's good to be mentored by folks that you feel are fantastic at doing what they do, and you want to be similar to them. That's a great thing. I tip my hat to you for doing that. There's a lot of people that you shouldn't want to emulate either. And therefore, what is it that you stand for? What is it that you stand on? Where is the cutoff from your free thought to expressing something that it's ditto? It's copying people. You should never want to be a character. You should have character and be a character of sorts that makes you stand out in hopefully particularly good ways. But you don't want to be a character, something that's built or manufactured either by media or somebody else that doesn't have your best interest at will. I say these things because we see too often that people are just shaking their head yes to things in the media, and you can clearly tell they've never put much thought into it, if at all, any, other than regurgitating what they've heard or what their friends shared. You see a lot of that in youth. I was that way. Everybody was that way in some sort. Similar to bigotry. We talk about bigotry in people. You're just a bigot. Well, we're all bigots, because if I date just women, then I'm bigoted towards just that. So that doesn't necessarily mean it's a bad thing. It's just your stance on it. And you're considered as part of that in your choice. Now, bigoted and race-related, racial, racist, whatever. Man, some of that stuff gets thrown around way too casually these days. Actually, most of it gets thrown around way too casually these days. And by any means, in any conversation, I'm going to tell you straight up, being a racist has no place in any part of society. Now, those things have to actually be racist. And I'm not pointing out which are and which aren't. It's not my business. But I can tell you this. If somebody that sets out and intends to be that against you or somebody else based off their demographic, whatever, those traits that make them who they are through something that they couldn't actually have a choice in, their parents, whatever. None of us have a choice in that. We are produced, created from those people in our immediate lineage. Some good, some bad. Most will do bad, unfortunately. Many will do good. But what you have to remember is that the intent is where we don't want to get caught up and lost in, as opposed to just affording somebody an opinion because that's the way you thought it should be. That's never good. I always fall back on that. When I was young, and I'm a Gen Xer, I was born in '68. We were always told to not be stereotyping other people, because stereotyping would minimize the influence and the relationship that you would be able to achieve between you and that person. And that's a loss on your behalf, for sure. So don't do those things just because they are, whatever, wearing particular clothing, from head to toe, shoes, pants, whatever. Listen to a particular type of music. Anything that doesn't specifically tell you more in depth about them is just a low-hanging fruit, something that's surface scratchable. That does not necessarily mean that that person is less than or not up to standards for what you believe. It's just not true. We want them to be different. So where is your stance on those things that make bad, bad, good, good? That goes back to intent. I apologize for the ums. I'm fairly infamous for that, but when you watch a lot of these solo projects, people do it. Those verbal pauses, non-verbal pauses, we all have. Communication is key. So back to that, where do we stand? Well, intent means everything. So if I come up and I say, boy, oh boy, you knocked the crap out of that ball, somebody in turn makes a statement, did you just call that person a boy? I've been in numerous atmospheres where that term boy can be not a good thing. But what was my intent? Having an expression and just being excited does not necessarily mean that I'm a racist. Anybody that uses those terms, you have to remember the intent. Pitch, expression, things that you can grasp, things that you can see and experience, have a huge amount of play in that. That's why we lose so much in this communication that's based off of simple text or post, where people don't see what we're actually trying to say, and they're getting very little input or feedback on the actual things that we are trying to share. And that's unacceptable. That's where we lose so much between being open-minded to who we are and what we can learn about others. Because we immediately will stand up and go, oh, that's not what you meant. Well, I know what I meant, but you didn't understand what I said. So you're not going to argue with me about what I meant. If I said it, I meant it. You just have to understand the way in which it was meant. Same with receiving that from someone else. And I always try to clarify those things. And it's not a challenge. It's simply asking, oh, hey, what did you mean by that? Just so I know. Again, if you want to be a terrible person and carry some of those forbidding subjects, about how you want to treat people, do so. That's not for me to tell you yay or nay. I may not like it, but I have no control over you, nor you I. So, that being said, back to where we were. Intent. Where are you willing to lean? Do you get around certain people and lean in and out of the ways that you interact? I know I do, especially if I've had a few cocktails. I can get a little ghetto. That might seem like a negative thing to say or a funny way to do it, but the way that I grew up what you would call ghetto. Nobody's going to change that. My color didn't make that way or otherwise. People can use different terms to say it, but when I was growing up, that wasn't a negative. That's just what it was. Simple fact. And ghettos occurred. Ghettos were a real thing. I didn't make them that way. I unfortunately lived through them. I don't know who made them that way. It's not for me to say. I remember my grandparents moving from Michigan to Florida, and while they were simply in the process of selling their house and preparing to move, we started seeing people parking their cars on lawns, and they lived in a great little neighborhood. It was one of the World War II era neighborhoods that we see all over. They lived in a great little neighborhood. And these weren't necessarily a certain type of people. These weren't, white hillbillies or people of color or whatever. This was just what started moving into the neighborhood. And it started dropping. So my grandparents would never park on their yard. They'd take care of their lawn. They wouldn't just drop trash in place. We see a lot of that today. Watch videos of people out there, man. They will throw some stuff on the ground like it doesn't matter. And that's unnecessary. You literally slap your own community in the face when you say that that's okay. Because you do it, someone else does it, 100 people do it, and it's just garbage. And if you want to talk bad about your neighborhood or your community, don't forget what part of that you built. Pick things up. Again, people that know me, see me, I'll pick up trash in 2 or 3 things. I'll pick up trash in parking lots all the time. It's just a known thing. I will stop by the side of the road and pick up trash, especially by our lakes. Why aren't other people wanting to do that? Well, because nobody has an investment in anything anymore. It's either people's parents or things that were given to them or very little was expected of them. And it's unfortunate. I need to get off this highway because right now we are on 94 and this is one of the worst stretches in the world for highway and accidents and people being hurt. I don't like being on it, and we are backed up right now in the absolute worst part. So I definitely need to change some of that. But anyways, that said, remember, if you're going to change the way that you are based off of the different things that you encounter or the people that you're around, nothing wrong with that. Being a little bit of a chameleon, making people feel at home, showing people that you're a participant to that or know a little something about it. Maybe grew up that way. Some will say spicy. Some people, hey, that person got a little flavor. We hear those things all the time. I've heard a lot worse. I've had people drop the N-bomb on me, claiming that I'm like them. I belong to a fraternity that's recognized as a black fraternity. That doesn't mean I'm good, better, indifferent, whatever. It's just what I chose because of my reasons I chose it. So what do I stand on? Well, I try to stand on the same things all the time. And I used to stand on some stuff that was pretty bad. As I realized that it's not always about my ego and how I come out on top, I needed to start considering other people. And once I did, I got rid of some of those flaws. I've not got rid of all my flaws, and I could never say that because some of those flaws could hurt people, and I don't intend to, but they could just based off of who I am in the programming that I've done to myself for many years. But what I'm not going to do is have somebody tell me to go be a particular way, which is different to what I would be on my own, simply because I'm trying to live up to who they are, maybe some of their celebrity or position or money. I don't know. Hey, if you take this money and go do this, I'll get you some more, whatever. I don't do that. I'm going to be who I am based off of who I am. And very little changes that. That's not everybody. And unfortunately, we see it far too often today that people are willing to trade on their morals for something in exchange. That's super unfortunate. Super unfortunate. Because the truth in who you are is what makes you you. And I want the importance of you. And I want the purity of you. I don't want you to dress up. I don't want you to pretend. I don't need you to be a tough guy if you're not. I don't need you to be cover your face in makeup if you're a pretty girl. To try to impress me. None of those things. I just want you to be you. Because that's good enough for me. And bending on those things would actually hurt my opinion of you more than it would help my opinion of you. Which, that and 2 cents equals 2 cents. So, I just want to say that for all of you, we're out there getting it done every day. Please remember, don't mistakenly fall for the okie doke by governments, by entities, by sides that haven't earned their right for you to change who you are. You're way better than that. You are way better than anyone, anywhere, that insists that you be different than what you are, simply to meet some crazy expectation that they should never ask of anyone else. That really tells you who they are. Anybody that wishes something like that has a much higher opinion of who they are and what they should be than what they should ever do. Those are certainly fascist. I don't want to tell anybody what to do. If somebody asks me my opinion, or if I can help someone, or if I can keep them from harming themselves, and I've got some input, then so be it. But if I want to go around and tell somebody, hey, go do that, wear this that way, be like this. I know what you're talking about now. Sorry. That's not a good human being. Because anybody that wants that much power will never stop in their search for power over others. Unfortunately, too many of those people end up in government positions, or get worse as they are placed in government positions, as we agree to them being in those government positions. Some flip-flop completely. They weren't who they were and suddenly seem different in every way, shape, and form than what they were basing their claims to who they were on while selling it to us. But I'm going to tell you, they didn't change anything. They were always that. You just didn't see it because they were playing the game for popularity to gain your confidence. They changed, not in a good way. They changed simply to swindle you. And that's not what we can be. We give, we take, we share, supposedly based off of who we are. I see a lot of people with their hand out all the time, never, ever being willing to give to others. And we'll talk about what others should be doing and how they should be spending, and it's crazy. It's crazy. Those people can barely take care of themselves, but they want to talk about how other people should be doing what they intend as best. Again, perfect indicator to be aware of what that person is trying to tell you. So what is it you stand for? Are you willing to listen to stuff like that? Are you willing to allow a government to enforce something that you should not be enforcing? Are you willing to watch or participate in that enforcement where laws have not been approved by the populace, you and me, voted on as acceptable? I don't want you to take a side other than your side. And I want that side to be educated. And that's not through watching YouTube. There's a lot of education out there on YouTube. A lot of education out there in books. Professors, instructors, people of higher rank, people in managerial positions, leadership. There's a lot of great information that you can learn. One of the best things that I have always said is to find out what the opposition to that opinion is. Find out where that stance originates from, and be sure that whatever the opposite is isn't what you actually stand for. If you only know one side, well, for sure, you can't be completely complicit in laying claim to something that could be wrong, because that's all you knew. But it certainly carries some responsibility on your own behalf, because you were willing to only have that and accept it based off of a willingness to only have that opinion. That's where we get limited in who we are. That's where these slave owners lock the bindings around our wrist and enslave us throughout life, because we're willing to hand over those keys. Don't do that. You're more valuable than that. You mean more than that. That's the side I'm on, is being you. Standing up for what you believe in, not what you're told. Standing up and not taking a side to condemn others that are complete strangers to you and have never harmed you, but because of something they wear, a red hat, a blue tie, a donkey, an elephant, whatever, a swoosh, 3 stripes. It's unacceptable. That's just consumerism. You're just eating away and then regurgitating however they determine that's the way it should be done. That's what I mean by don't be that character. Don't be manufactured by what they intend you to be. Be you. I love me some all of you. I really do. But be you. And Steve said this. If you worked for me in the military and I told you something, one of my biggest quotes. Not because Sergeant Neil said. I got that information from somewhere else and I could produce that. That's what I went by. Now, you had to make the decision, right or wrong. Were you going to follow it per the AFI or instruction or directive, regulation? Or were you going to cut corners and take it upon yourself? Whatever your career could stomach, as we used to say. Simply to be that contrarian. Because you wanted to fight for fighting's sake, not for safety's sake or anything else. Or did you go along with just to be one of the sheep? Or did you stop and go, hey, there's a few different ways that I could approach this. There's different sides to this. Let me consider all of those. Here's a gentleman picking up garbage right here, one of the places where I do it all the time. And that's wonderful. I don't know, you might be able to see him back here. But that's beautiful. Right here by the lake, as a matter of fact. But yes, that's my point to all of this. Is knowing, educating yourself. You can't know everything. No one does. And you might know some great points about a few different things. I'm a surfer, snowboarder, biker, off-roader, dirt biker, quad racer, skateboarder, you name it. BMX, downhill mountain bike. Everybody that knows me knows and has seen me doing all of these things. All of them. Among some other things. But I'm not a pro at any of them. I had sponsorships in some of them. I played professional in some of them. Same with the military. I was legendary for some things not so good. But those things that I really embraced, like my career, I certainly was deep in the knowledge of that, but I wasn't the best at it. And many details showed that. How good I was, yes, there was people that sought me for operations and running things because they knew that I didn't bend on who I was. As well, they would let me know, hey, some of the things that we accept about you, we accept hand in hand with some other things that we may not be completely on board with. Keep it reeled in, for sure. I get it. Roger that. I'm tracking. In the same sense, they knew that the operation was going to be done and done correctly. So, yes, we can't know everything. And it's great to know a lot. I'm interested in everything. I just love learning. I'm a knowledge junkie. Love to learn, love to know. But that doesn't mean I can go out and speak on it openly and to a point where I should be telling other people about it. I love medical, I love physical, I love, doctor things, I love physical things that are about the gym and health, fitness. And I'll share some of that. But that doesn't mean I'm a pro at it. Look at me. There's a lot of people my age that are in a lot better condition than I am. A lot better. A lot of younger people in much worse condition than me too. That's a fact. So, yes, be on that knowledge quest, but you can't know everything. So limit yourself and be willing to listen. Hey, is that person trying to tell me what to do for telling me what to do sake? Or is that person trying to inform me of something based off of their actual knowledge and me not being willing to listen because I believe a side that is never proven worthy of earning that position towards following them? Like I always say, I'm not going to harm you. I'm just going to tell you to think about some things. That's not telling you you're stupid. That's just mentioning, hey, I get what you're following there, but I've got some experience in some of that. And I'm going to tell you, be careful, tread lightly. That's what I want everybody to do, is stop and take it in. And to not give on who they are based off of some open willingness to pay no attention to what's going on around you. Those people have not earned anything in respect or authority or otherwise. Some of these people are just spewing things out, hoping that you'll follow because they want to see how dumb you are. Especially as kids, especially as young people. We see people daring people all the time. Hey, watch this, I'm going to get them to go do this. These people end up hurt. Some maimed. You don't want to be listening to those people. Hey, let's go out and buy these expensive cars that we've not even understood what it costs to insure them. Or these dirt bikes or things that we can't afford. The first time we go out and break them, now they're sitting somewhere. It's not smart. Don't listen to people that are trying to tell you to do stuff like that. Afford yourself the ability to take care of you and those choices. You can't know everything. You can do a lot. Do those things. Travel. Get experience. But don't bend on who you are. If you know that when you go into certain situations you feel a particular way, and you go somewhere and someone says, hey, I don't know you, I've never met you, but I'm this and that and the other thing, just listen to me because I'm here, I'm the expert. Could it possibly be that that person is trying to gain access to who you are to possibly do you harm? More than likely that is the case. I've met some great people. Great people. Man, I'll throw myself in the middle of finding the most unique people. And a lot of people who I worked with and spent time with shared those opportunities. And we've met some people that were fairly famous. Didn't even know. And had a great time. But If they would have said something that immediately ran the red flags up the pole, I would have stopped in my steps and tracked a different way, because I'm not going to give on who I am simply to appease those people because they're new or friendly or have something. There's no way. I won't give in who I am unless it's earned. And that's all I try to hope for people these days. And we're just not seeing enough of it. So stop and ask yourself these things. Remind yourself to stop and ask those same questions each and every time you come up on a situation where maybe you're not sure. And yeah, you want to be friendly, and yes, you want to be welcomed and liked and brought into that group. But is that what's best for you? Is that serving you and your purpose? Well, your beliefs, your morals? Don't give on those things. I'd much rather have somebody straighten me out and tell me to get my head out of my rear end, because maybe at that time I wasn't seeing it. Maybe I was inebriated or just not paying attention to my ability to have better judgment at the time. I love those people that would grab me by the collar and say, "Hey, wake it up, pal. Get your head out. Sharpen that edge a little bit." That's all I want to be for everybody. But I don't want to be telling everybody what to do either. I don't want to seem like some mental thug that wants to push or boss people around just because I have more knowledge in something. I share out of caring. Sharing is caring. I actually do care. I'm one of those people. I care about good people. I care about a lot of people that have tried time and time again to keep me from caring about them. They've done everything they could to throw hurdles in my way to get past that. Yet, I still am going to care about them because they matter. They matter because they're somebody to me. But at some point, we have to ask if that investment is going to be worth the effort. When, if at any time, will it become too much? When will it cause us to bend in who we are? And it should never be that. If you were a good friend, you would do this. No. If you were a good friend, you wouldn't ask me to do something indifferent to who I am. That's always the big one. Because those who always want to come off of your stack, they're pretty liberal about always wanting it to come out of your pocket. Rarely will it come out of theirs. Be aware of those people. They're telling you who they are. Are you willing to listen? Because you need to. I don't want to keep you. I want you everybody to have a wonderful 4th of July, the rest of your summer, anything coming up. It matters to me. It really does. But the biggest thing that I want for everyone is to not listen to me, but to listen to what's in here, what's truthful and honest about what's good for you. Don't blindly follow entities, name brands, entertainers, politicians, sides. That most of them want you to consume. They're trying to sell you something. Too often those things aren't good things. I just simply want you to think for yourself enough to where when it's time and those flags go up, you know that it's a real alert. You know when they're telling you to look down that you should be looking up. You know that when they're fogging your path, you need to find clarity. And that's just not it right now. Too many people aren't looking for clarity. They're looking to muck the waters even more by following those evil people. Those people who intend you harm or intend you wrong. I hope no one out there thinks I'm shaking my finger at them. It's not the case. Just be careful on what you're willing to bend for. bend, give in good, do those things that are meaningful. Set markers to those things with the people that you love most. Pictures, videos, posts, whatever. Set markers to those things that you can go back and embrace them. But you can also recollect being participant to something good and stating, hey, I chose not to do that. Not out of being a contrarian, but out of just a pure, truthful understanding that that's not the way that's always gone. I've learned enough to know that that's not the way that's always gone. So I question that, especially when it's about your own health or the health of those around you, those you love. Be willing to question those things. Don't question things just to waste people's time. Nobody wants to sit there and argue with people for the sake of argument. Bring something valuable. Tinfoil hats, conspiracies, all these things. Be careful of the people that are telling you to point at strangers that you've never met. You don't know what their intent is. They've never wronged you. And they say, see those law abiders over there? That's who you should hate. While they're doing nothing but wrong and supporting evil and lawlessness. While they're watching society cave in on itself, and they're continuing to tell you what to do, to join that, you got to wake up. You have to wake up and see how those people intend you harm. Their intent is to wrong you and control you. And you are more valuable than that. You're a miracle. Be that miracle. Don't hand the keys off to someone that's not earned the right to drive. Because, woo, that accident, that'll be a life taker. Some of those things you can't come back from. And I hope in our nation we never get to that point. But I'm seeing things in this nation that I saw abroad in some pretty horrific places that I never thought I would see. The biggest one being people following megalomaniacs, true fascists, tyrants. They claim to dislike other tyrants, supposed tyrants that they were instructed to dislike, that didn't have a history of being political tyrants. Yet they don't want you to see anything bad that they're doing. Be aware of those people. We've got a terrible one up there right now. A lifetime. Look up what those people make. You can't tell me how many billions of dollars come from something that they haven't made, have just appeared in their... I've never had money appear in my bank account. I've money disappear from my bank account. But I've never had billions appear in my bank account. I always knew what I was making, as do most of you. So you're going to say that's okay? While they're insisting that you mention nothing of them doing wrong, but you're following after somebody that's come and gone, that hasn't harmed this nation that way. Again, that's not telling me to like one and hate one. I'm telling you, don't like any of them. Just make sure they're actually doing wrong. And when things come out that the wrong hasn't been done, woo, you better look at the people that had you believing it. Because now you look like a dummy. Not by my standard. You accepted that from somebody that made you look stupid. They insisted you to look stupid. They intended you to look stupid. That's unfortunate. So be careful what you stand on. Stand on love, be peaceful. Hopefully you can bring comfort to others. Be good to one another. And let's look out for each other. Unity, that's what we need. You and me, together. Not pulled apart or pitted against one another because somebody elsewhere that knows nothing about us, doesn't live like us. They're not our representation by any means. Companies, billionaires, I don't have anything in common with them. If I do, maybe we like the same team or something. But I'm not trying to get you to consume their products. All I want is you to be you, and you to be safe, and you to be loved, and you to be taken care of. Because when it comes down to it, it's just us on our own. No matter how much family we're surrounded with, one day you have to answer for you. And you got to know, did I bend or break based off of what somebody who didn't earn that situation or that position to tell me to do so? Did I bend for them with nothing in return? Other than chains and bindings, lashes on our back, bloody hands from picking social cotton. Be good to one another. God bless each of you. If you don't buy into that, may your faith or vibrations or positivity carry you through. One love for everybody. Not my insistence for you to believe the way I do. Good for everybody. I can appreciate that. So be well out there. Have a happy 4th, everybody. Enjoy yourself. Be safe. Hopefully you'll be around to come back and see us again. Take care. Be well.